for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
all in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the fall!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Matt Ohayon with you. It is the Sick Podcast. I am the Hebrew Hammer. Tony is off today. For all my Jews out there, Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. Full disclosure, this will be aired as a pre-recorded episode because it is the Jewish New Year, so I will be at dinner when this is airing. So that's the reason why I need to fully disclose that, because Canadiens rookie camp is underway and they have a game tonight at 7 o'clock against the Buffalo Sabres. And we won't be breaking that down just because I won't be watching, because I'll be, like I said, at Rosh Hashanah dinner. Anyways, let's get this thing underway. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, who are a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. One day I will get that read right without stumbling. We're also brought to you by Playground. Playground has over 600 machines, poker tournaments, and Playground casino games, daily promotions, and unmatched customer service. Why go anywhere else? Located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. Also brought to you by La Bittt Tibi beer, brewed in Quebec and a winner of a dozen international awards. La Bittt Tibi offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. La Bittt Tibi, embrace your true nature. Actually, I saw La Bittt Tibi in a dépanneur not too long ago. It was a couple days ago. I think it was Wednesday night. And I went to a BYOB place for dinner. So I picked one up and had it. It was very, very good. And Yellow and Sammy have yet to send me that case that they had promised me about 5 months ago. So not holding my breath. Anyways, like I mentioned, Habs rookie camp underway. I know I spoke about it and Tony spoke about it when he was back, the golf tournament on Monday. We're going to give a little weekly recap of all this. That's what we're going to do tonight. So to do that, I brought in one of my very good friends and one of my favorite contributors to this podcast, Mr. Charles-Alexis Brisebois. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm doing fine. The weather is just how I like it. It's like 20 degrees, 18 degrees, sunny. We're done with the humidity, seemingly. I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, everything's good. Like we were talking before the show with Aniello and Sammy, other than the Blue Jays, how are you doing?
Yeah, the Jays are really, really bad. If it were a baseball podcast, it would be a different vibe from the one right now if we're talking about the Blue Jays, obviously. But with the hockey is back this week, so I'm doing great. That's it. As long as you're doing better than the Blue Jays, you're doing okay.
Oh yeah, that's how I see it.
Way better.
So let's talk quickly because it happened on Monday, the golf tournament. What were some maybe things that stuck out to you that were said, that were brought up, storylines that came from the golf tournament?
Oh my God, the P word. That's the only thing I want to talk about. I thought it was a good line. And, we will come back to the P word I'm pretty sure a few times this year. And if, let's say in December it's not going well, we're all gonna say, we're gonna write articles about the Habs are not gonna be in the P word or whatever. I think it's gonna be a storyline this year. Of course, Jeff Gorton had to say that. Kent Hughes said Stanley Cup or nothing. He was joking, obviously, and after that, he had the same expectations. The direction cannot just say, oh, we're trying to make the playoffs, because we know it's not realistic this year, and the expectations would be too high. So they need to protect at some cost the players, and saying it like that make it resonate, of course. But I think they're right. They cannot talk about the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I liked how they were just very upfront about it. They were realistic. They're not like last year I remember at one point, maybe it was in January, February, where the Flyers were like in last place or something. Like, we're doing worse than the Canadians, which is crazy to say. And John Tortorella goes out there and says, we're still trying to make the playoffs. Like, okay, relax. Not everyone is St. Louis of 3-4 years ago, who could go from worst to first. But so I really liked how they laid it out, and they said, like, they're clearly not expecting to make the playoffs. Multiple people who Tony and I who have spoken to this week said, yeah, they're probably not going to. I wouldn't predict them to make the playoffs, but wouldn't be surprised. Like, crazier things have happened in an 82-game NHL season. Like, me personally, I would put their chances at like 10%, and that's more than probably more most people would put it at. So if you had to put a number, what's your percentage wise on the P word?
I'm gonna say 2%, just because I don't want to say zero, because of course something can happen, but I just don't believe it. They will have a better team than last year. That I believe. They finished fifth from the last place. I don't think it's gonna be as hard this year, because all the young guys are gonna have one more year with them. I hope they're not gonna be as injured as last year. I think it's impossible to be as injured as last year. So with those progression, I think they can have a few more spots. That being said, the division they're playing in is way, way, way too hard. And the Red Wings are going to progress. The Sabres are going to progress. The Sens are going to progress. And the four best teams of the divisions are going to be really good. I still believe that the Bruins are going to be a really good team. I will write them off the when they will play bad, not right now, because they have a lot of experience and everything. So there are really, really good teams in that division, and the Habs are not one right now. And that is why we need to have that kind of process in Montreal, because if we don't have that right now, and we always stay a team that can make or cannot make the playoffs, you're not going to beat the Tampa Bays and the Torontos and all those teams that are really, really good and will be for a few years.
Yeah, and the big thing, a lot of people that, and I don't blame a lot of fans that want the playoffs every year, even given the current context. I don't blame them, because that's what you want from your team. And it's, even if you get, bottom 5 in the league, worst place in the league, you're not guaranteed first overall. And frankly, a lot of these prospects coming in through the draft, they're not, except for Connor Bedard, they're not, for the most part, franchise altering players like in the NFL. There's one every year. Every year, this guy steps into the lineup right away, and boom, this team takes off. Even prospects that are drafted in the first round, not like, I would say 90% of them don't play their first year eligible in the NHL. Whereas in the NFL, top 4 rounds, you're in there. You're in the starting lineup right away. So it's a lot different. I like that they tempered expectations. I think the reason for optimism going into this season, if people don't want there to just like flat out say like, oh, losses are winning, losses are wins again, if that's not the way you want to look at it, is that last year they were pretty much at 500-ish by January. The new year, they were a good team. You know, I'm not going to say they were a playoff team, but they were a 500 team by January, and people were saying that, you know, they'd be lucky to have 10 wins by then. So I agree with you. I think they'll be a lot better this coming year. Obviously, granted, they don't lose 4,000 man games to injury, but you know, I really think that this team, we're going to see some players make some strides. And I really want to see, you know, as many strides as he made last year, I want to see more from Kirby Dach. I want to see what Alex Newhook could do. Frankly, I want to see more from Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. As crazy as that sounds, those are probably the only two players you can't complain about last season. But I want to see more. I want to see Nick Suzuki with a healthy Cole Caulfield hit 90 points.
You're right, and I mean, it may be hard to ask more for Cole Caulfield, maybe a 200 feet players, but Nick Suzuki, you can definitely ask more, and it says a lot about his potential because, you know, he had 66 points, if I'm correct, last year, and, you know, at the end of the season, he was completely alone, and that's something I really say a lot. But on the center line, he was alone. So if you add a Kirby Dach with a little bit more experience, if you add Sean Monahan, if you add Alex Newhook, if you add Christian Dvorak and everything, and you have a good center line, and of course you have Cole Caulfield with him for the entire season, I think he could be a player who has a point per game or maybe more. You talked about 90. Maybe it could be a possibility for Nick Suzuki if he stays healthy, like he's always healthy, and if the guys around him are healthy too. I think he can make a really, really good jump during the next season.
Yeah, and the big thing is, you know, for me, when you talk about Cole Caulfield, is that it's the headline everywhere. It's been said everywhere. It's been written everywhere. You know that under Martin St. Louis, he's played 83 games and he scored 48 goals.
Yeah.
Naturally, you would think, okay, so take away 1 or 2 goals there, and there's your 82 game season. I don't buy into that, just because, you know, what was the talk of Austin Matthews, that he scored like, what was it, like 72 goals over an 82 game stretch, but that spanned over 2 seasons. And then last year, it just didn't happen for him by his standards, at least. Yep. So that's why I want to see a lot more from Cole Caulfield. Reports coming out from the golf tournament is that he looks bigger. He probably said he is bigger. He put on muscle. That's always a good thing. So yeah, I want to see more from him. I want to see, you know, maybe some passing implemented into his game. Not too much. I mean, if the guy is going to go out there and score 50 goals, I'm not going to complain that he had 20 assists, you know, like that's a little bit, it's a little bit much.
Yeah, right. And he can improve, obviously. And you're right talking about his shoulder, because, you know, we all assumed when his season was over, the Habs said, oh, his shoulder is going to come off 100%. And right now, I think that's the case. So we kind of assumed that, okay, we're right about this. We talked about the contract at the time. But, you know, his shoulder may be stronger, because when you have that kind of operation, you can come back stronger. So imagine if he is stronger with that shoulder, and he is confident, and he has that new contract, and he plays with Nick Suzuki, and the young guys are playing well and everything. He could have a hell of a season, because I don't think he didn't play the hockey for that long in his life. So right now, I think he's just really, really happy to be on the ice. We know how much he loves hockey, how much he loves Montreal. So he can have a really, really good season if the stars align.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the biggest factor in all that will be Martin St. Louis and how he manages that room. Because it's really easy when again, I don't want to say the games don't matter this year. I think they do to a degree. I think they want to be a 500 team. Like, they want to have 80 points at least. So, you know, the way he's going to manage that is, when the games do matter, it's very easy to lose confidence. Just like when they don't matter, it's hard to motivate. Now it's easy to lose confidence because you're playing for something. So that's going to be an interesting factor by Martin St. Louis. I just think that right now, it seemed like last year, until the injuries happened, nothing could shake the confidence of that team as a collective. There are obviously players that were struggling, like Jonathan Drouin and Christian Dvorak at points. But really, as a collective team, I don't think much could shake their confidence, and I really, really hope that carries them through the season.
And I'm really curious to see what's going to be the mindset because, as you said, the importance of the wins and losses are going to be different. And I think last year the way they were when they were losing, it was not encouraged, obviously, but it meant, oh, we're going through Connor Bedard, so it's not completely a bad thing. But I'm pretty sure that the Habs wanted to be at the end of the barrel in 2023 and starts going up. So I think right now, when they lose, they're gonna say, "Oh no, we're losing." It's not gonna be the end of the world because they don't expect to win the Stanley Cup, obviously, but I think they want to win, and it's going to be interesting to see the impact this has on Martin St. Louis because he needs to develop himself into an NHL coach who needs to win, and he never had this opportunity before, so we cannot judge. So it's going to be the first year that we're gonna kind of gonna assume, okay, now he needs to win a little bit more. Is he able to do that? How is he going to motivate the guys, as you said? So that's going to be an interesting storyline because, Martin St. Louis, if he progresses as a really good NHL coach, as we all think he is, it's going to be a hell of a season for him.
And you know what I hope we see is that, like last year, again, it was written everywhere, mistakes. I don't want to say they didn't matter because, players sat when they made mistakes, and then, or if they made a mistake, it's like, hey, this is what you did. Why don't you sit in the press box and you're going to watch, and just to see, you have more time, you have more space, don't make that play again. And then you're back on the ice. Now it's like, I want this season to be like, okay, you made that mistake. That's like strike one. Strike two is like you miss a shift, whatever. Strike three is like, okay, you can't do that. Like, you're going to sit a game because now it's time where tactically you can't just work on the offensive play. I know they want to be an exciting team, but you can't just work on that. You need to get the defensive side down. And that was, at least for me, I know, again, like you mentioned that, by the end of the season, it was basically Nick Suzuki and the Laval Rocket. Yeah. I know that that'll naturally lead to some defensive struggles, but to me, like throughout the whole season, defense last year was a major, major issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you're right about the expectation of you don't need to make mistakes because chances are that maybe no rookie is going to make the team. Maybe if there's an injury to Christian Dvorak or whatever, something, maybe there's going to be one. But last year, there were 4 or 5 rookies at the blue line only. So, of course, you're going to need to allow mistakes. And it was the first year of the coaching staff, the first full year together. So, it was kind of an explosive mix. Right now, if you make mistakes, it's because you didn't listen last year because it's basically the same team. And I know you're adding Gustav Lindstrom and you're adding Alex Newhook or whatever, but those were guys who played in the NHL. So they all have that experience and they all need to be held accountable. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be because Martin St. Louis, he showed it last year. He's not the type of guy who's just going to let it pass on what's really important for him.
Yeah. And, I remember, I forget when it was definitely near the end of the season, but I forget the specific game that it was. But I remember there was one game where like he was pissed at the players because it was very rare that we said that the team as a collective didn't give a full effort in every game. I could say probably it happened 70 out of 82 games that they did give a full effort. And then near the end of the season, like he got pissed at his players. He was yelling in the room. There were reports of that he was short with the media. I not that I want to see that, but that needs to continue. Like, cause that's how losing isn't okay. Like you're not going to make the playoffs, but losing still isn't. It's still not acceptable, or at least the way you got to have a good loss. This is where good losses and bad losses, when you're a playoff team, they don't really matter. Now, when you're a team that's not expecting to make the playoffs, that's when they matter. So I want to see a lot of, if they're going to lose some games, which they will, I want to see those good losses.
And you're right to talk about the way Martin St. Louis is going to handle himself because when he was a player, he was known to not liking talking to the medias, and he was playing in Tampa Bay, so it was fine for him, I guess. But when he came to Montreal as a head coach, you need to talk every day. You talk 2 times a day when there's a game. So of course there are gonna be moments when you're in a rebuild that are gonna be way harder, and we wanted to see how is he gonna react to that. And at first it was great, but at the end of the season, as you said, he was taking his ease, and he was a little bit more incisive sometimes. So I wonder how many times it's gonna happen next year, because sometimes you need to do that, and I hope it's gonna be at the right time for Martin Saint Louis, because if he uses that card too much, it's not gonna be good for the players, obviously. But I'm pretty sure he has a plan about it.
So moving on to the rookie camp that opened up 2 days ago or yesterday. My mind is all, it's been a crazy week. But anyways, it opened up. That we know. So the players took their measurements, weighed in. I'm not going to ask you how much you weigh, but I will ask you how tall you are.
I'm 6'2", almost 6'3".
Okay. So so you can give a good opinion on this because I'm 5'8" on a good day. So I'm not really qualified because anyone over 5'10" is like the tallest person ever to me.
Yep.
So, the big talk is like, prospects are too small. The team's too small. Vegas just won the cup. They were crashing and banging everyone. They were just bigger than everyone and they just outmuscled everyone. Is 6 foot tall not tall anymore? Like, I don't know, because Owen Beck, he's 6 feet tall now. He measured in at 6 feet, just under 200 pounds. To me, that's a big center. That's a big guy. I don't know. Am I off base here?
I think I don't think it's big, but I don't think it's small. I think it's okay. I mean, for the NHL standards, it's fine. Here's the thing with the Habs: their defensive core is going to be really huge. All the guys are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", Jacky, I think. So you have really really big bodies, and you can add to that Lane Hudson, who's going to be way smaller, but you can have that kind of Cale Makar guy. I'm not saying he's Cale Makar, but I'm saying is that type of guy. And the Habs, when they won the cup last year, they had that big defensive core, but they had that little defenseman. It was okay because he was around big guys. What concerns me is the forwards, because Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield are not that big. They're small actually. Cole Caulfield is really small for the NHL standards. So I think you need to have those big guys. You can have guys who are 6 feet. Obviously, it's also the way they play on the ice. Obviously, if you play small, it's not going to be okay too. So you need to have those Emil Heineman, who's a 6'2" guy. You need to have those kind of prospects, but you can have, of course, obviously, some little guys who are going to be able to play in the NHL and to kind of be protected. I know it's a cliche, and they're not going to have a bodyguard on the ice, obviously, but you need to have that equilibrium between the big guys and the small guys.
So speaking of that middle ground, David Reinbacher, he was the one who made the most headlines with the weigh-ins, because at the combine, I think he weighed in at 184, something around there. Yesterday, so then yesterday, I'm terrible at math then. Wow, that's embarrassing, because I literally wrote it down. I tried to do the math on the paper. I was like, what's 209? What's the difference there? Oh, 25. Anyways, that's why I was a journalism major. But so he weighed in at 194 at the combine, and now he's 209. That is a tremendous amount of weight to put on in a summer, in 3 months, 4 months, whatever it was. I'm right now he's playing against rookies. I'm expecting him to look good. By the time this podcast is done, maybe he looked terrible at the game, but I'm expecting him to find his footing and look really good. I'm excited to see him in the preseason. Like, that's a big boy, 6'3", 210. People talk about his physical presence on the ice. He can show some offensive ability. Like I really am. I'm really excited to see him play now.
When I saw that he added 15 pounds, I was really impressed and kind of concerned because 15 is a lot to add for an 18 years old. That being said, he played pro last year, right? So he's gonna play at the same place. He's still going to play in Switzerland next year, so he knows what to add on that level. So that's why I think that that's going to be a good thing more than a bad thing. And he said that his team Clouden wanted him to add weights, and it was the same for the Canadians. So the fact that he's not going to play in North America this year says to me he's going to adapt to that new weight for the next season in Switzerland, and then he wants to keep that weight and just add muscle or whatever, but stay around 209, 210 or something like that. So he's going to have 12 months with that weight before coming to Montreal or Laval next year if he plays here in North America. So I think that's a good thing. But yeah, I'm really curious to see tonight what it's going to be about with William Trudeau on his left.
Yeah, and someone else who I'm excited to see. I don't know if is the game going to be broadcasted on TV? Like, am I going to be able to record this and watch it later? Do we know
It's
this?
not going to be on. It's not going to be on TV. It's going to be on the web from the Habs and from RDS.
Okay, so then it's definitely going to be possible to be rewatched. Another player, very excited to see play, Logan Mailloux. Jeff Gorton said he will be getting the green light. It's basically all but confirmed to resume professional hockey activities and be reinstated into the NHL. 6'3", 220. Just again, like it's not Victor Hedman big, but that is a massive person. That's a lot of weight to be putting into a puck when he shoots it. It's a lot of weight to be putting into a person. One thing that we always see on Twitter is the clips of his offensive play in the OHL. I want to see how physical this guy could get. Like, I want to see him, because that at that size, when you have that offensive ability, all you need to add to your game, other than, of course, is, be defensively aware. He's a defenseman. He's a good defenseman. So he has the good hockey IQ. Add some nastiness to your game. Like, look at David Savard as an example and how nasty he was to play against in the playoffs.
Yep.
Do that, and you will quickly be a fan favorite in Montreal.
Yeah, you're right. And in the case of Logan Mailloux, I'm really curious to see what it's gonna be in the pros. I think he's gonna start in Laval, but he could play in Montreal during the year too. So he's gonna play pro for the first time in North America. Every time he did something good last year, a lot of people were saying, he's playing junior. It's normal. He dominates, whatever. But you need to remember that the kid played 16 games for the first 3 seasons because of COVID, because of an injury, because of a suspension, because of whatever the factors. He didn't play a lot. So the fact that he could be a plug-in in the OHL and be a really, really good defenseman is all you can ask about, because he could not be a good pro when he played in the OHL. It's impossible. So he did what he had to do, and now I can't wait to see him in Laval, to see how it's going to translate, how he's going to play. And as you said, maybe I had a little mightiness to his game, a la David Savard, for example. So I'm really looking forward to the rookie camp, the training camp also, and of course the beginning of the season in his case, because he is a good prospect. He was chosen under those conditions because he is a good prospect. If the player was not worth the risk, Marc Bergevin would not have drafted him.
Now, on the offensive side, we spoke a little bit about Owen Beck. We spoke about 2 defensemen, another player. I'm very, very excited to see how he does. Again, not, tonight it holds some weight, but I'm really, once the preseason starts, because these are guys, fighting for NHL spots near the end of preseason at least, is Joshua Roy. Like, we spoke about him earlier in the offseason, that he has a chance to crack the team. He probably, barring injury, will play some NHL games at some point, barring injury to him, because if there's injuries on the team, he's definitely going to play. So I think that's a great get by the Canadians. That's a gem that you need to hit on those. That's how you build teams. Is those fifth? You could hit on a first round pick. You don't want to miss on a first round pick. That's the key. You don't want to miss on a first round pick. But if you hit on your fourth, fifth, sixth rounders, that's when magic starts to happen. And he has the potential to be a very, very good player.
Yeah, and in the case of Joshua Roy, if you look at his season last year, he scored a lot, whether it's in Sherbrooke with the Phoenix, whether it's in with Hockey Canada, and he played with Connor Bedard too. So, I mean, people are seeing some things with this guy, obviously. And what I really like is, yes, he scored, but he added a defensive play to his game. So he can play in PK and he can play on the entire ice and he can score. So that's really, it's going to be really interesting to see how this translates to the pro hockey, because if he can do the same things, well, I mean, he's not going to do exactly the same things because the caliber is not the same, but if he can adapt really well to the AHL in the beginning of the season, he's going to be a really good tool for the Habs to call up and to inject some life into this lineup, because at some point the lineup is going to need to add some life, because they're going to lose a lot of games and it's going to be hard sometimes to keep smiling. So adding kids from Laval who are going to play well is going to be really important, and Joshua Roy has the potential to be one of those guys.
And not to harp on the past, but it's just if whoever gets called up, they're going to get their shot higher up in the lineup, which is the exciting part, because that's what they're there to be. They're not going to be, they might not get a lot of ice time, but they'll play with the right players. And it's not just going to be, shoved in on the fourth line playing 7 minutes a night. And all right, you didn't register a shot on goal, so you're going back down to Laval the next game. We're going to see these guys be given real opportunities should the injuries happen. Which is an exciting thing. And hey, who knows? Maybe even a Joshua Roy, an Owen Beck can force the Habs to make a decision, just like Arbor Jack I did last year.
Yeah, exactly. And every management is going to say this: we need those guys to make sure that our decisions are really hard to take, because if all the rookies are playing bad at the training camp and the decision is easy, it's not going to be a good thing for the organization, because they're going to go to Laval with not necessarily a whole lot of confidence. The team in Laval is going to be young too, so if they all have a good training camp and they all go to Laval together and they start winning together, it's going to be really great, because all those good teams a lot of the good teams, are built on the foundation of the fact that the kids played together in the AHL and they grew up together in the NHL. You can think of the Tampa Bay Lightning, who had a lot of players who played for John Cooper in Syracuse. They won there, and then they came to the NHL and they won the Stanley Cup. So if you want to take that model, maybe it could be a good thing for the Habs if a few of them are winning games together with the Rocket.
Charles, thank you very much as always. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy the start of hockey season.
I will, my friend. Thank you.
That was Charles-Alexis Brisebois. Now it's time for 6 Sports Cards.
6 Sports Cards. Presented by Sports La Tornade.
6 Sports Cards is presented by Sports La Tornade, sports cards, collectibles, and more. Visit the store at 1 Avenue de la Fabrique in Vaudreuil, Dorion. Tornado Chris, how we doing?
We're doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I know you're gonna throw at me that the Bengals. I know it's coming. That they sucked. They were, they were horrible, and it was embarrassing. I know.
I feel like
that out of the way.
It's just, that's the way it is. I mean, look, the Bills lost. A lot of people didn't. Once Aaron Rodgers went down, everyone thought that game was over too. So it's week 1. There's no reason to panic yet. Your Bengals are still a good team, so there's hope.
Well, that's it. Like I watching that. I didn't watch the game because I was at a wedding actually, but I was in the wedding party the whole day, so I missed the entire game. And people are coming up to me at the wedding because I'm the Bengals guy, and they're like, "Oh, you must be pissed about your Bengals." I'm like, honestly, no, because I'm not going to say I was expecting the loss to be embarrassing, but I was expecting a loss. So 0-1 is 0-1, whether you lost 40-0 or 21-20. So it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
All right. So tell me, we're coming up on hockey season. What's coming up? What's new?
So what's new is we have a new collection that came out this week on Wednesday. It's actually one of the it's Ultimate Collection. It's a 21-22 product, which is they're a bit late on some cards still. They're still catching up from post-COVID, but we're going to open up this box here in a minute. There's also Bowman Chrome Baseball, which I have a box here. This was also out this week. Very, very hot. 2 autographs per box. And there's the very hot prospects in there that are going for great money. We have Metal Universe Hockey that just came out. And next week, we're going to be receiving SPX Hockey as well as the Mosaic Football, which for the football guys is kind of one of the big deals in football. Mosaic is very popular amongst the football guys. So that is what we have new in store and what is upcoming in the next week. So if we're now gonna check out this box, if you may.
Oh, please. I always find myself when I'm on TikTok, you know how easy it is. There's this boop, 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 scroll. And whenever there's a live pops up and it'll be a break or it'll be a pack opening of any cards. Cause as a kid, not only did I love hockey cards, I also loved Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It pains me to know how much money I have thrown away as a kid, not knowing what would come. But anyways, I digress. So I always stop and I'm constantly watching pack opening videos. They're very, very exciting. So let's do this thing.
Okay, let's do it. So I'm just going to fix my camera so we can see a bit more of the box here. All right. So, okay. So you might not see, I want more importantly to see the box and not myself. So, like I said, Ultimate Collection, it's 21-22 collection. So we're looking at a lot of, we hope to get a Caulfield or a Zegras in there.
So how many packs come in this box?
So I'm going to, I'll show you. This is actually a high-end product. Ultimate is one of our higher-end products out of Upper Deck. So there's not a lot of cards. There's only one pack in this box, and in this, this is one pack. As you can see, one pack, and in that pack is 4 or 5 cards. So we open our box. We got our pack here. In there, I'm going to expect 4 to 5 cards. What's very popular with Ultimate Collection is the shield cards. So they're kind of like the NHL logo that you see on the jersey. Like a lot of them wear it here on the NHL logo, kind of on the chest here. They're called shields, and there's a lot of one-of-ones in there. So you can, the ideal one would be to pull the one-of-one Cole Caulfield shield. That would be, we'd go viral if we did it live here now.
I'm praying we do it, because that means that, you know what that means? That means you can ask, you ask Agnello and Sandy, we're band together. We're going to make a killing off them. They're going
to
pay us even more to be on this.
Exactly.
So let's do it.
So I'm going to show you how I do this. I got a little decoy here that's kind of just a piece of cardboard. Stick it on top, because I know that the top card and the bottom card are mostly what you call base cards or less interesting cards. So let's see if I can center this here. So we'll start from the bottom here. So my first card is going to be a rookie jersey card. We have a Sean Durzi, who's, pretty good prospect for the Kings. Probably a card that's not worth too much, but every pack has one of these rookie jerseys. So a lot of people like to do the rookie jersey set. It's kind of interesting.
Well, so I was going to say, it's just before we move on, I thought it was really interesting that, I didn't know what this product was. And then when I asked you how many packs are coming in this box, I was surprised you only said one. And then you pull out the pack. That thing was thick.
It was.
So
thick.
I was expecting, like maybe 12, 15 cards in there, but you're like, nah, there's 5 or 4. And I'm like, wow, those must be some crazy cards. That's a high quality product right there.
Yeah. So already I see we have 3 cards left. So there's only 4 cards in this pack. The bottom one seems to be a thick one. We'll hope it's a patch or a autograph of some sort. So this is our base card here. We have a Henry Yokihiro for the Buffalo Sabres, who started his career with the Chicago Blackhawks. He's now with the Sabres. Not sure what's going to happen with him. He's on and off, but those are our more, base cards. So here we're going to have our first auto. Here we have Adam Beckman for the Minnesota Wild. Ultimate introductions. It's a nice little line within the Ultimate Collection that, this is not a card that you do a whole set of because they're probably pretty hard to pull. But, it's not a sticker auto. It's what you call a hard sign auto on the card, which means the player, signed it himself. So probably our biggest card of this set is going to be very nice card. It's going to be a very nice patch. So when you get a 3-color patch, that's also a nice. This is a hard sign signature materials of Alexander Barkov. So it's not a rookie card. It would have been nice to pull a patch of a rookie, but still, nonetheless, Barkov is very respectful, and that's a beautiful patch.
Yeah, so, is it numbered there, or am I imagining right above the signature?
No, this right above the signature. This is the last print, so this is the 49 of 49.
Huh. So what would be the difference, between? Is there a difference between pulling? Let's just say if I got the 40 out of 49 versus 49 out of 49.
So there's collectors that do first print and last print, but the most popular is jersey number. So if you pulled the 22 of 49 for Cole Caulfield, or let's say Barkov is number 16. Now the 16 on 49 is what we would have been worth more money than just the others. Yeah. So jersey number seems to be a thing. That's one of the things that people go for. So I'm just going to put you back up here and we'll continue. So that was our box of Ultimate. I want to say that was a average box. You could have done worse. You could have done better. That's about an average box of Ultimate because the patch card is actually pretty sweet. So yeah, it was a beautiful card. It looked like that thing was, I don't even know, like as thick as my wallet.
It's pretty thick. I don't know what that says about. I don't know what that says more about my wallet or the card. So.
Yeah.
But so how much that, again, that's a box, but it's only one pack. You said it's a high-end product. How much does that box go for?
In stores, people are selling between $280, $320.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're pretty, you're expecting when you buy that. I mean, obviously everyone knows when you buy a pack of hockey cards, there's hits and misses, but there's got to be some pretty good guarantees baseline in there.
I wouldn't say there's a guarantee. Like you're never going to guarantee your money back. Like on that, like let's say I put all those 4 cards up for sale right now, I'm not getting my money back because that wasn't the box or wasn't a shield or stuff like that. But I mean, that's what I try to explain to folks all the time is that if you're a collector and you get something you like or something like that Barkov card, if I collect Cole Caulfield and I just got to find the Barkov collector and I can do a trade and I can get something I like. And that's part of collecting. You're not going to always get either the name you want or the value you want, but that's as long as you have cards and you opened a box, then you have cards to trade. And every now and then someone will, you might trade up, you might even trade down, except you like the player better. So that's the fun of it.
So Speaking of trade up and trade down, I got a note from Sammy that we're going to be playing my favorite game here.
Yes.
That we played once or twice before. I can't really remember. Buy or sell. I'm excited. Let's do it. I've been doing my research. I'm ready.
Okay, good. So we played this before. So I want you to think of yourself buying stock right now in the stock market. So I'll hit you with a few names that are talked about recently that are hot or whatever. And you can basically tell me what you think if you're buying or selling at this time. So the very obvious, we're going to start with the very obvious first. Connor Bedard.
Well, I'm buying that.
You're buying that, right?
Yeah, I'm buying every day.
Okay. So I like your choice. I just want to I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate and tell you on some people's thinking that come into the store now is that, his first card is not out yet and it's a big hype. So when the card comes out, people are thinking right away sell because of the hype. And what some people are saying is they're going to sell it right away and rebuy that card a year from now when it kind of goes down. That's where you got to be careful because it might not go down. Like you said that about Connor McDavid, and now everybody's wishing they would have bought back then with Connor McDavid. So, and then I have people telling me like, yes, but Connor Bedard has got big shoes to fill, and he can't. If he's not if he's not as good as Connor McDavid, he's a bust. Those are big words, but it's speculations, right? So everybody has their own opinion. Everybody buy or sell. It'll be interesting when the card comes out.
Well, that's the thing, and if he becomes what he's supposed to become, and then he has similar career path to Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews, where he wins 3 Stanley Cups. I feel like those people, even if he wins 1 Stanley Cup like that, when he wins his first, that's when I would be like, sell to the moon. Let's go. That's
right. Stanley Cups do mean a lot when it comes to cards. So if he's got a few cups under his belt in a few years, then definitely you did good. You did well to buy now and sell after those cups. So that's a good one. I guess I'm going to follow up with a line mate. This could be a little bit of tricky one, but I think that Lucas Reichel needs to be mentioned. So if we're talking Connor Bedard, Lucas Reichel is the next top prospect in Chicago. He might be of interest.
Yeah, again, with guys that are young, that like really young, I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna buy those because just the potential. You're buying on potential is what it is, right? So it's not like it's like getting into Bitcoin before Bitcoin was Bitcoin is the way I see it. Like people say, oh, there's never a bad time to get in, and then you get in and it poop, and then it crashed. That's the bad time. So right at the beginning, I feel like is a good time to do it.
I think you're right on Lucas Reichel just because of a lot of speculation. If he gets paired with Bedard or gets put on the power play with Bedard, anything can happen. And I think his price is really reasonable right now. So that would be a good one. Another big name, Connor McDavid.
That's a tough one. Okay, so this is based purely off of my views of the Edmonton Oilers. But I'm going to okay, wait. Do we have a time frame? Like how long am I keeping this card for?
So I'll just give you a little timeline. Before when they were in playoffs last year, before they were eliminated, his card was about $1,600.
Okay.
Right. So here, I just pulled one up. Okay. This is the famous Connor McDavid. Before he was eliminated, $1,600. If you were to buy one this month or last month during the summer months, $1,000.
Yeah, so I was going to say 1,000.
So that card went down significantly this summer after they got eliminated. And everyone's saying, will he ever win? He'll never win. They're not in the playoffs anymore. So as of right now, Are you taking the chance that he is going to win, or are you continuing the ride down, or the, you know?
I'd really have to take a look at what the Oilers did in the offseason. But like $1,000 for Connor McDavid, Young Guns, that to me sounds like a good price. I just don't I don't think it's the Edmonton Oilers are a team right now where it's like, I will never, ever, 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 if you're a Chris Jericho fan, buy into the hype anymore. I can't do it. They've fooled me too many times. I'm not going to do it. But to the person who still does believe, like, talk to the biggest Edmonton Oiler fan.
Right.
They're going to buy that card every day. $1,000. Are you kidding me? What a day. That's the steal of a century. So it's just because, let me throw one back at you. So I would not buy it. But I also, if I had it for $1,000, I wouldn't sell it either. I would hold it if it was mine. But here's my question to you. Say he never wins a Stanley Cup, but he keeps winning those individual awards. Is that going to have that much impact at a certain point?
Awards, not so much. Records, if he beats some records, yes. Okay. Like, we're talking, the numbers he's putting up is, it's still early to tell, but, look at the hype that Ovechkin's getting right now because of the records. If that happens, that's a whole other ballgame. That's like Stanley Cups. But awards per se, it helps, but I wouldn't say as much as Stanley Cups or records.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, again, if it was my card, I'm holding it. I wouldn't jump on it. Just because, again, I don't believe in the Oilers. That's a personal thing, though. If I was an Oilers fan, I would buy that card every day, though.
The two biggest questions of that you need to ask right now for Connor McDavid is, will he get 100 points or more again this year?
Yes.
Will he be in the playoffs this year?
Yes.
If you say yes to those two questions, then I think that in May or maybe in April this year, that card, while they're in the playoffs, is back up to 1,600, back up to 1,800. Then you might want to sell. But as of right now, I think you would be a good choice to buy. So, because if you are answering yes to both those questions, and I feel the same as you, as both answers are a definite yes, then you're more up to buy now while it's a bit lower. That's why I like that.
That's what I figured. Like, how much better could that price really get? All things being equal, right? Like, he's not going to get a gruesome injury that'll derail his season. The Oilers are still going to make the playoffs. Like, how much lower could it really get than $1,000?
I don't see it unless those unfortunate situations happen where there's a big injury or something. Yeah.
Right.
So, all right. So, moving on to a different sport a little bit. I don't know how much you know about basketball, but I just stuck with the number one pick, Victor Wembanyama.
You know what? How about this? You could say no. You could say no if it defeats the purpose. What's the price of his card right now?
Oh boy, they're at the. It depends on the set. It depends on what set you're pulling from. They're not all out yet because it's the high end sets of basketball are not out yet. The season's just going to get started shortly. So to put a price right now, you're looking at some of his university cards and stuff, which are going for, if you get a University Bowman Wembanyama, it could be in the thousands of dollars. But I feel like as soon as his regular cards come out with his team, his actual NBA team, those are going to drop. And I don't know. I don't follow basketball as close as I do other sports, but I've had a lot of basketball guys say that they're not convinced that he's going to be that great. So
yeah,
I heard a lot of hype before the draft, and after the draft, people are saying, meh.
Here's the biggest thing with basketball I find is massive bias towards players who play in the NCAA, who are drafted out of the NCAA versus players drafted out of Europe. Like Luka Doncic got traded after he was drafted, got traded right to Dallas because he's not going to resonate with the crowd in Atlanta. Well, I'm pretty sure Atlanta would like to have Luka Doncic instead of Trae Young. Not that Trae Young is a bad player, but I'm still pretty sure they'd like to have him. And Nikola Jokic was drafted the bottom half of the second round. And, they said, he's too big. He'll never make it, this, that, whatever. Well, he seemed to have done pretty well for himself. So I would take advantage of that. I'm not convinced he's going to work out. I would take advantage of that. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy Victor Wembanyama, but only if it was his NBA card. I wouldn't buy his Europe card.
All right. So let's go into my Colts now. What are you thinking on Anthony Richardson after seeing him week 1? Or you didn't because you were at the wedding.
But I saw the highlights and he looked amazing.
Yeah, he did.
I would sell, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you why. It's nothing against him; it's against his style of play, because even Patrick Mahomes, we've never seen a quarterback with the running ability of. You could go back to Michael Vick, who started. Then you fast forward like RG3. Even he has more of an arm than most of these guys. Forget Patrick Mahomes now, but Josh Allen, he runs 700 yards a season. That's a pretty good running ability. You never really those teams and those quarterbacks are always in the hunt. They're always in the mix. Look at Lamar Jackson. The Ravens, as long as he's healthy, they're always in the mix. They never do it. So he just had an amazing game off of his first career game. I would sell it. I would sell it.
Yeah, the only thing about Richardson is that he wasn't drafted first overall. So the hype, I actually have to say his card is pretty cheap right now. So that's the advantage I have is I know that his card is cheap because he wasn't first overall and because he hasn't proven anything yet. So in that case, it's not biased to my team, but I think Richardson is better than he's not getting much praise or anything right now. No one's talking about him. So yeah, so I guess we move on to the next one. And
let me ask you before you shoot the next card at me. If he were to remember last year when Justin Fields, for our hockey fans, that's a quarterback for the Chicago Bears, running quarterback, just like the quarterback we're talking about now. He ripped off like a 65-yard touchdown run like 3 weeks in a row. Like, how much hype does he get then? Like, does that really does that boost up the price like a lot?
It does. Last year I saw more people come back for Justin Fields.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So
okay, perfect.
I guess we got to ask about the number 1 overall, Bryce Young.
I'll buy that. Actually, I feel like it's a card I don't want personally because. Yeah, I mean, it's just everyone's talking that the Carolina Panthers are still in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Like, would they imagine? Has that ever happened before? A team that drafts a quarterback first overall gets first overall again? Would they draft a quarterback again? I don't know. They're comparing Caleb Williams to Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know. I could forecast. I could see a trade happening if they came up to it at the end of the season, close to the end of the season. And they're looking like as if they were going to get it, maybe a trade to get some assets. But I don't know. I don't forget that these cards and these players are based a lot on where they play, what market they play on, how good are they going to be playing on that team. So as good as Bryce Young is, how good is his team? Like, so that would be the question. For Bryce.
So then I guess a good comparable, I mean, if he got to that level, would be like the Joe Burrow's rookie year, right? Because who the hell were the Bengals before they got Joe Burrow? Nobody.
Right.
Even when they drafted him, who were they that year? Nobody. They had the shitty offensive line that was responsible for him tearing his knee. So I guess you hear that, you take the chance on a Bryce Young and you buy that card because it can't be that expensive anyways.
That's right. There's going to be lots, and it's the same as the football stuff is not all out yet for this year, so it's still early in the season, and for sure you're going to want to buy each product to see if you can get one. So that's a good one. To switch up sports again, I'm going to go to a little bit different. Coco Gauff just won herself a U.S. Open. And I've seen there's not a lot of tennis cards out there, but the hype on Coco Gauff this week or the last 2 weeks has been, heard. So I just wonder, you think she's going to continue to win? Should we be buying now or is this a one and done? Or
so before people murder me in the comments because they saw me go, I know who Coco Gauff is. I just wanted to confirm that I knew her age. And I do. So I was right in my head. She's 19 years old. Buy that every day. I buy that every day.
I agree with you. I think that she's up and coming. I don't know if she can do Serena Williams type, numbers, but at 19 years old, who knows, right? She's already started. So
that's the thing is like, what if she does? Then you're happy you bought it, even though it's and you're a little more than happy. I think you're a little more than happy you bought it.
For all the Canadians listening, tennis is not a big thing in the card market in Canada, and you can get some Coco Gauff stuff for cheap here because some people might not know or care much about it,
right? And
that's where you can get your stuff. That's how it's, that's just the way it is. So,
all right. Well, there you go.
The only baseball player I put on there, and obviously it's my favorite player, my favorite team, but the numbers he's putting up are just insane. It's stuff that he's never, people have never seen before, but Ronald Acuna Jr. he's about to go 40 home runs, 70 stolen bases, never seen in the MLB before. You think is that? I'm starting to wonder, is that a plateau? You think it'll ever be done again? Will he do more?
So I'm gonna do. So I'm not gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna ask it because I have you on full screen rather than rather than Googling him. How old is he? I know he's young.
Yes, he's got to be 26.
26. That's actually older than I thought.
Yeah.
I'm still buying that. I'm still buying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think well, he's my personal collection, so I'm always buying Acuna. But if I didn't have an Acuna, I would jump on it now before the records start breaking. He hasn't hit the 40-70. He's at 35 and 65, but you definitely want to buy him now. Before it's too late. So that's my opinion on.
So this has got to be, I mean, the way in my head, it makes perfect sense. I'm going to ask you to confirm. When you get a guy like, for our hockey fans, let's take Alex Ovechkin. All the hype around, I don't even know how many goals he is away, but it's well within reach by his standards from Gretzky's record. Right now, his card must be insane with all the hype around that. And because it's already insane because he's Alex Ovechkin. How much, like, let's say he's at 8, the record I think is 857. Is that right? 857? I don't know. Anyways, let's just say it's 857. Let's say he's at 855. How close is the price going to be? Like, are the two prices, like when he passes it versus he's just right there? Like how What's the price? What would it be like that?
I think that the Ovechkin stuff is already high because I think people already expect the record to be broken. So I think that the price is already there. So it's not going to go up that much. It will on a short term. So the week that it happens, there'll be like a 2-week, I think there'll be a 2-week wave where might get a little bit crazy, but then it'll come back down and stabilize a bit towards what the price was before it happened. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to buy it before it happens, or wait till a few weeks after for the dust to settle, the celebrations to happen. Once the celebrations happen, once it's, I wouldn't say it's ever forgotten about, but it's less talked about, then that would be more of the time to jump on the Ovechkins.
So then to bring it back to Ronald Acuna, I guess, is like nothing's a guarantee, but like, is it a guarantee that he's going to hit this record?
There's about an 80 to 90% chance that he's going to get that record this year. He's at, actually, we just checked it. He's at 36 and 66. Okay. So he's got, 4 more home runs, 4 more stolen bases, and he's got it. And by the way, I think the record's already broken. It's just that the 40-70 is like a mark where, no one in MLB history has ever. So he's got 17 or 18 games left to get those 4 stolen bases and the 4 home runs. So I think it's a lock. Again, this is your personal, he's your personal collection. So what is a Ronald Acuna, just your average base set, not the top of the line set of baseball cards, you're right in the middle. Yeah. A Ronald Acuna going for now versus what could it look like after that? So an Acuna Jr., if you have the rookie card now, it depends on what set you're looking at, right? So you can have rookie cards that are at $50 and you can have rookie cards that are at $10,000, $12,000 that I've seen. Okay. So I'd rather give you a percentage or a mark. Yeah,
that's a good one.
If your card is worth $50 now, once the record breaks, I would say it doubles. Okay. I would say I think that it would double. So
is that the same case? Is that the case for top of the line rookie card, or is that like it's going to double, or because it's like top of the line premium rookie card?
I think it'll double because, like we said, I think he's going to continue that next year. Right. I think next year he gets stronger. I listen to a lot of his stuff, but he keeps telling, like, he learns every day and he gets better every day and he, different challenges. I think he hasn't plateaued yet. So I think there's sky's the limit for this guy. So.
All right. Well, Tornado Chris, you got anything else for me?
I had one last one. We can't go without talking about Joe Burrow.
Buy it.
You want to buy it, eh? Let me tell you, since week 1 and what happened in week 1 and what happened in the offseason and all that, you're definitely right about buying Joe Burrow because I've seen a crash and I don't believe he's a bust. I believe he'll come back and he'll be strong. And I think that now, while it's at I wouldn't say all-time lowest, but it's lower. It's lower right now. You're definitely looking to buy Joe Burrow.
It's funny. I don't think. I mean, it's always recency bias, right? But like, when was the last time that there was, that the price of his card after he signed his contract must have shot through the roof, and then 4 days later, week 1 happens, and it must have just absolutely tanked.
Yeah, the Joe Burrow, when he made it to the AFC Championship game, was then between beating Mahomes that week, and going to the championship final. That week there was probably the biggest hype and the high. That was the all-time high. And now we're just a dip in the road right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, for all of my football fans out there, if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I'm like Carey Price, Aaron Rodgers, just chill out. Just chill out.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't have an off season. He didn't have a preseason. He'll get it right. He got it right last year if they started 0-2.
Awesome. So that's all I got for players this week.
All right. Tornado Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was Sick Sports Cards. I'm Matt Ohayon. This was the Sick Podcast. Thank you very much for joining me. I don't know when I'll be back because next Friday, I'll be attending this festival. Will I come back alive? Will I not? Who knows? Remains to be seen. Thank you very much for watching. Shana Tova. We'll catch you next time.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaBita.tb. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.